If you're watching this, it means you're already looking in the wrong places. I've moved 4 times. I've changed my name twice. Nothing works. It still finds me. But I need to talk about the monastery first, because that's where it all began. At least, that's what I used to think. A few years back, I spent a month at a remote monastery in Calgary. It was supposed to be a digital detox retreat. No phones, no internet, no contact with the outside world. Just silence, reflection, and scripture. I was desperate for peace, so I went along. The building itself was a crumbling stone fortress perched on the edge of a cliffside. Beautiful in daylight, but every night the hallways felt different, too quiet, too heavy. The monks were polite but distant, never made eye contact. They chanted in a language I didn't recognize, something older than Latin, with sharp clicks and low guttural hums that echoed through the stone walls long after their voices stopped. The worst part was the 3rd floor. We were told to stay away. Storage, they said, under renovation. But sometimes at night, I'd hear footsteps pacing above my room. Slow, deliberate. Then, dragging sounds. Once, I crept halfway up the staircase just to listen. What I heard chilled me to the bone. It was someone sobbing, a deep, agonizing weeping, like a man trying to cough up his soul. That's when I knew something was wrong. But I left. I survived. And for years, I thought that place was the darkest thing I'd ever experienced. Until Arizona. I moved to Arizona last year. I thought I was putting the monastery behind me. New job, new town, a little desert rental with pale yellow walls and cactus blooms out front. But almost immediately, things felt off. It started with my phone. Calls in the middle of the night, no caller ID, nothing on the screen, just static. Sometimes a whisper. At first, I thought it was just signal interference, old wiring. But then the whispers started saying my name. I began dreaming about the monastery again, only it wasn't falling apart anymore. It was rebuilt, shiny black stone, towering spires. The monks in my dream no longer chanted, they just stood in rows, watching me, bleeding from their eyes. I'd wake up drenched in sweat, heart pounding. But it didn't stop there. I started seeing a figure. It began as a shadow in my periphery, in the hallway just outside the bathroom, in the reflection of the microwave door. Always there, always still. It didn't move, but it watched. And every time I turned on a light, it was gone. I tried ignoring it, writing it off as stress or some leftover trauma from Calgary. But then I caught it on camera. I was re-watching security footage from my front door, trying to find a package delivery. And in the far right corner of the screen, half obscured by the window frame, was a figure. Tall, thin, head cocked too far to the side, just standing, and it was facing the inside of the house. About 2 weeks ago, I found something behind the water heater. It was a book, old, leather-bound, pages worn thin like skin. No title, just the same symbol that had been carved into the Calgary Monastery altar. A circle surrounded by jagged runes. I opened it. The first page had only 5 words, written in crimson ink. You brought it with you. The rest of the book? Blank. That night, I dreamed of chanting again, except this time, I was one of them. I don't sleep anymore. Not really. because every night I hear scratching beneath the floorboards, like something digging upward, wood creaking, nails prying. I tried to rationalize it. Rats, foundation shift, the desert playing tricks on my ears. But last night, I felt warm breath through the vent by my bed, and a voice, raspy, like gravel, grinding in a throat, said, "Almost done, disciple." I jumped up, tore the vent cover off. Empty. But the air smelled like old blood and burning hair. This morning, I found bruises around my neck, long finger-shaped bruises. I live alone. I checked the footage again, and I swear to you, I saw myself walk out of the house at 3:33 a.m. Only, it wasn't me. The posture was wrong, the head too stiff, the arms too long, and when the figure turned to look at the camera, its eyes were bleeding, just like the monks in my dreams. Tonight, the book was no longer blank. Every page was now filled with ink. Lines of the same guttural language I'd heard at the monastery. And at the very back, a map of my house. And below it, in red, "Open the floor." I'm not going to, but I can hear it again. Scratching, digging, breathing. And I think tonight is the last night I'll be just me. The lights just went out. My phone is dead. And someone is knocking, slow and deliberate, on the door to the basement I never knew existed. I'm holding the camera now, just in case. If I disappear, check under the floorboards, because whatever came back with me from Calgary, it's finally coming out. You know that feeling when you open the wrong door and realize, too late, it was meant to stay shut. Yeah. That's where I'm at now. I found the basement. Correction, the basement found me. After the knock, I stood frozen at the top of the hallway, staring at the spot where there shouldn't have been a door. My rental wasn't supposed to have a basement. I'd combed the listing, the blueprints, everything. Crawl space, sure. But not this. Yet here it was. An old splintered door where the hardwood had split open like peeling skin. Hinges rusted, lock already broken. The wood wet to the touch like it had breathed condensation from inside. I should have walked away. But the book, the whisper, the scratching. Some part of me already knew what was waiting beneath. I opened it. The stairs were stone. Not new, not part of any construction this side of the century. These were hand-cut, uneven, covered in carvings I recognized from the monastery walls in Calgary. The same runes etched into the prayer chamber floors. The air down there was wet, like moss and rot and something else. Something that smelled like old breath and copper. The flashlight in my phone barely held up. The beam kept flickering, distorting the shadows on the walls. And then I reached the bottom. It wasn't a basement, it was a chamber. Round, massive. Walls made of black bricks slick with moisture. Dozens of alcoves lined the perimeter, and in each one, something moved. Small, shuffling sounds, like bodies shifting in sleep. At the center of the room was a stone platform, an altar, and on it, the book, open to the same page. Opened the floor, but this time, beneath those words, something else had appeared in fresh red ink. Welcome home. I turned to leave, but that's when I saw them. Figures stepping out of the alcoves, Slowly, silently, they wore monk robes, black, mold-stained. Their faces were covered in cloth, like gauze soaked in mud, and each one of them had a bloody symbol carved into their chests. The same symbol from the book. One of them stepped forward and lifted a hand. The cloth on his face twitched, and then, all at once, they began to hum. It wasn't a chant, not like the ones in Calgary. This was lower, more primal. It rattled the walls, the ceiling, my bones. I felt it in my teeth, vibrating like a swarm of flies buzzing against the inside of my skull. And in the middle of it, between the vibration and the shadow, I saw something crawl from beneath the altar. It was not human, not fully. It dragged itself forward, spine arched like a spider. Its limbs were too long, fingers sharpened into black claws, and its head, God, its head was wrapped in a face. A human face, not worn like a mask, sewn to it, and it was my face. I ran. I didn't look back. I didn't scream. I just ran. Up the stairs, through the warped floor, slamming the trapdoor shut behind me. I nailed it shut, piled furniture on top, salted the frame, not knowing if that even mattered. Then I hid in the bathtub for hours. But while I sat there, shivering, one phrase kept circling in my mind, something one of the older monks had muttered in Calgary before he was transferred to a quiet retreat no one ever explained. The hollow doesn't just want your flesh, it wants your echo. Back then I thought it was metaphorical. Now, I think it's the only real thing I've ever heard. The next morning, I checked my security camera footage again. 3:33 a.m. Once more, I walked out the front door. Only it wasn't me. Same posture, same height. But the thing turned to look straight at the camera and smiled. Wide, too wide. Its face pulled tight like dried leather over a frame that wasn't quite shaped right. That night, I got a voicemail. Just a single phrase, whispered in my voice. One of us already left. Which one are you now? I hadn't told anyone about the basement, but yesterday, my neighbor, a sweet older lady named Miss Edna, knocked on my door. She looked confused. "You moved in 2 weeks ago, right?" she asked. I nodded. She frowned. "Then why did I just see you leaving your own house 3 days before you arrived?" I asked her to explain. She told me she watches the street from her porch every night, that she saw someone walking around the property, someone that looked exactly like me days before the U-Haul showed up. I asked if she was sure. She held up her phone. A blurry photo, but it was me. Same hoodie, same jeans, same face. Only the eyes. The eyes were black. I had to know the truth. So I did something I probably shouldn't have. I went back down there, brought the book, the flashlight, and a mirror. The chamber was empty this time. No monks, no breathing, just the altar. I placed the mirror on the stone, opened the book again, and read the only legible line that remained. Your echo must see itself. The moment I finished reading, the mirror cracked. Then I saw it. It stood behind me. The creature, wearing my face, grinning, blood seeping from the mouth as it whispered something I'll never unhear. You're the echo now. I tried to scream, but no sound came out. My reflection smiled wider. Then the mirror went black. And in that black, I saw dozens, maybe hundreds of other versions of me, all trapped, all screaming silently, all fading. And I understood something in that moment. The monastery, it wasn't a sanctuary, it was a harvest site. And Arizona, it was the delivery point. I'm back upstairs now, but everything is wrong. My voice echoes when I speak, even when there's no sound. My shadow lags behind me. People at the store look confused when I speak. One woman even called me by the wrong name, and I felt a snap behind my eyes like glass breaking underwater. And this morning, the book vanished. In its place, a single page taped to my bathroom mirror. In blood-red ink, the exchange is almost complete. The lights are flickering again, and my reflection just blinked, but I didn't. If this reaches you, tell me, do you think we can be replaced without anyone noticing? That something else can wear your face, walk your life, and nobody even questions it? Would you notice if you were no longer real? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, because part of me is still here, but the rest, I think it's already moved on. To be continued. Part 2. Coming soon. I think I'm still me, but everyone else has changed.
Yeah.